Good morning and welcome to the Mayor's Weekly News Conference. This week's agenda is an announcement of 2 new ordinances related to our city-owned parks, an introduction of the PA Downtown Center's 2019 conference here in Erie, sharing lessons learned from the Kauffman Foundation's Mayor's Conference on Entrepreneurship that the mayor attended in Kansas City, Missouri last week, and a reminder on the LERTA public meetings. Now I'll turn it over to the Mayor.
Thank you, Renee. Good morning, everyone. Thanks a lot for being here. We're very excited to announce these 2 new ordinances that will be on the agenda for the next City Council meeting on June 5th. The first is an effort to promote a family-friendly atmosphere, and we've drafted an ordinance that will prohibit the use of tobacco in city-owned recreation parks or playgrounds. This includes e-cigarettes and all tobacco products, including cigarettes, pipes, cigars, chewing tobacco, snuff, and hookah. With this ordinance, we are joining the Young Lungs at Play initiative, and I'd like to invite Nikki Knopsnyder, the public health educator with the Erie County Department of Health, to come up and explain this a little further. Nikki?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I brought a sign along with me. I'll sit up here. On behalf of the Erie County Department of Health, I would like to thank Mayor Schember and his staff for their efforts to improve the health of all residents, especially our children, by working to make all the city's parks and playgrounds tobacco-free. We are proud of the leadership the city of Erie has shown on this issue, and we look forward to the city joining Young Lungs at Play. It's a statewide initiative that aims to eliminate exposure to secondhand smoke in outdoor places, especially those places where children play. This is an important health initiative for our community. An estimated 50,000 Americans die each year from lung cancer and heart disease attributable to secondhand smoke exposure. Secondhand smoke exposure also causes over 1 million illnesses in children each year. Children are at particular risk for asthma, respiratory infections, and cardiovascular disease when exposed to tobacco smoke. Secondhand smoke contains over 7,000 chemicals, with more than 250 of them known to be toxic or carcinogenic. The Environmental Protection Agency classifies secondhand smoke as a Class A carcinogen, a substance that is known to cause cancer in humans, and the Surgeon General reports there is no safe level of secondhand smoke exposure. Even brief exposures can be harmful. There is indisputable evidence that implementing 100% smoke-free environments is the only way to fully protect our community from the harmful effects of secondhand smoke. Outdoor tobacco use and its waste have environmental health impacts as well. Cigarette butts are one of the most littered items in the world. Small children and animals are at risk of swallowing, choking, or burning themselves with discarded butts and poisoning themselves with nicotine. Tobacco waste also has the potential to poison our waterways. When washed into creeks and streams, tobacco waste is a toxic pollutant that takes decades to decompose. Tobacco-free park policies reduce unsightly tobacco litter and its damaging impacts while providing children with healthy, clean places to play. Policy initiatives like Young Lungs at Play are key strategies and effective methods to limit exposure to the dangers of secondhand smoke, protect the environment, and to protect the health of all. The Erie County Department of Health will continue to support the work of Mayor Schember and his staff as they create tobacco-free policies and implement the Young Lungs at Play program in each of the city's parks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nikki, and a special thanks to you and the county for providing those Young Lungs at Play signs that will be popping up in our parks across the city. I just want to add that many people probably don't realize the importance of street sweepers or the fact that our storm drains actually empty directly into the lake. Our street cleaning trucks prevent 29,000 tons of pollution annually from going into the lake, including cigarette butts that contain the carcinogens and other toxic chemicals as Nikki described. We call on city residents to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our children by not smoking in city-owned parks or disposing of used tobacco products improperly. Please put them properly into the trash. We have been working with the county, Gannon, and Erie Insurance to identify designated smoking areas in the downtown. We'll be announcing those later in June. The second ordinance at Council's June 5th meeting will promote family-friendly, safe, and enjoyable atmosphere in our downtown parks. This ordinance prohibits the possession or consumption of open containers of alcohol in Perry Square and Griswold Plaza. Any groups that want to offer alcoholic beverages for consumption at special events like Rib Fest, Gears and Grubs, Celebrate Erie, or any block party can apply for approval to do this through the permitting process. Next, I'm proud to announce that the Pennsylvania Downtown Center's 2019 conference will be hosted right here in Erie, June 2nd through the 5th. The conference focuses on innovation, entrepreneurship, and the vitality of our downtowns. For more information on this conference, I'd like to first call on Kim Thomas. Kim is currently the Regional Director of Pennsylvania DCED here in Erie. Kim.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. We too are very, very excited. I am personally excited that the Pennsylvania Downtown Center Conference will be held right here in Erie in just a few days, beginning this Sunday and running through next Wednesday. DCED partners with the Pennsylvania Downtown Center through a contract agreement to really assist community revitalization efforts and organizations throughout the state. The PDC offers technical assistance to a lot of the communities that we at DCED are working with. It's a very hands-on, very mutual agreement and cooperation between the two agencies. PDC assists DCED in really assisting our Main Street communities, our Elm Street communities, and our Keystone designated communities throughout the Commonwealth. Over the past few years, we've had the opportunity to visit a number of different communities throughout the state and see some of the successes and also some of the failures maybe of community revitalization efforts throughout the Commonwealth. We've been in Westchester, we've been in Pittsburgh for the National Main Street Conference, we've been in Allentown, Lancaster, and it really is eye-opening for all of the different agency leaders, community revitalization leaders throughout the state to come into a community and see exactly in this case, what Erie has done and what Erie has been successful in its community revitalization efforts over the past several years. So we're excited to have hundreds of folks come to Erie and see the successes that Erie has had. One of our designated communities, really one of the few within the Northwest region, we're very proud to say, is the Erie Downtown Partnership as a designated Main Street through Governor Wolf's Keystone Communities program. Truly the hard work of John and Emily over the past several years and their participation in all of the Pennsylvania Downtown Center activities over the years throughout the state, right here in Erie, is truly what has led the Pennsylvania Downtown Center to bring its conference to Erie. John and Emily did a significant amount of work on the front end of this to make the case to bring this conference here to Erie, and I think it's going to be really incredible to be able to show the rest of the state what Erie's doing so that they can take these efforts and these best practices back to their communities to do the same thing. So one thing that I do want to point out, so registration is closed for the conference, but on Sunday from 1 to 4, there is a Community Revitalization 101. It's really an opportunity for anyone, whether you're registered for the conference or not, to come take part in a 3-hour session to learn about best practices in community revitalization, how to lead a community revitalization organization, and really just, again, sharing those best practices. It's about mission, vision, strength, leadership, volunteerism, fundraising. So really for the public, it's an opportunity, if you haven't had a chance to register for the conference, to get in and learn what community revitalization is all about and how to take those efforts back to your organization. So with that, thank you so much to John and Emily and to the city of Erie for putting forth such tremendous effort to bring this conference to Erie. I think it's going to be a great few days. So with that, John, if you want to come up and talk a little bit more about what folks can expect.
Thank you, Kim. Kim hit the nail right on the head. This conference was in Erie 15 years ago, and many of the attendees have not been in Erie for the past 15 years. And we know, as being part of this community, the change that has occurred and the change that will occur. And a lot of the change that it's upon our community is learned in, as Kim alluded to, best practices that are gained by myself and others by leaving Erie or having people come to Erie and sharing knowledge and communicating. So many opportunities for us to advance the community, not just through Main Street and Elm Street, but Elm Streets are your neighborhoods. It's the Sisters of St. Joseph. It's our West Bayfront. It's the Bayfront Eastside Task Force. These are the values that of knowledge and information that we're picking up and we're learning and applying. What we heard today is a prime example of our city stepping up and saying, with these ordinances, these are opportunities for us to make our downtowns more safe, more fun, and more welcoming. Ordinances of this nature are best practices that now counterparts of mine and other volunteers in other communities step up and say, how did you do that in Erie? Because I ask the same question of them, how did you do that in your community? We often face the same challenges. It's groups like this coming together and enabling us to share information and really to make our communities much more fruitful, I should say, and promising for our future endeavors. We had a whole list of sponsors that helped us, and it wasn't just a matter of their financial contributions, it's their active engagement within the communities because they care. They care at a level of that is just helping us lead and transform the communities. We define the attendees as other counterparts of mine, but it's more than that. There are volunteer board members from other communities, previous mayors, city and county council, people in economic development. There are so many people that are coming to the community. It's a quality and a little bit of a quantity issue. And why Erie, why now? You heard me say it's the 15-year time frame, but it's more than that. It's where are we now and where are we going? And how is it that we as a community can lead by example? Ultimately, as Kim mentioned, the innovation, entrepreneurship, and economic vitality as being the whole theme of the conference was put together because that's what's occurring in our community. It's more than a pride, it's about our future. It is about creating the new economy for Erie, and this is our chance to showcase that for others so that we can not just show them, but literally learn from them as how we still continue to follow on this path. We often say that the best way to be part of a community to be engaged in a community. As Kim mentioned, you as part of our community can go to this Community One-on-One Revitalization Academy. Our phone rings and our email dings daily about people who want to be involved, who want to learn more, but be involved because they too want to make a better Erie for tomorrow. That's an opportunity. Last week, we sat here and announced Activating Downtown and how we wanted to really try new events, activate our parks to a different level. We have that chance with a new pilot this Sunday that we're calling Machine Alley. It's in a different area. It's in an alleyway that has a storied history to it on 12th and Peach Street. It's activating a non-traditional space that allows us as a community to realize, I didn't realize the history, I didn't realize the building, I didn't realize the potential. So from this Sunday from 2 until 5, and Monday night, we're gonna do the same thing from 5 p.m. until 7 p.m., allowing Machine Alley, which is a pop-up event. We're just gonna pop up in this area and just enjoy a local food, a local entertainment, and be part of the community. But it's a hands-on experience for counterparts like mine to come into the community and to learn from this example. It was brought together by a group called Yard and Company, which is a Cincinnati-based group that is involved in many other communities throughout the nation and abroad for that matter. And it's our opportunity to learn from them, from their playbook that says, how is it that Erie can continue its transformation and change for the future? So with that, I say thank you very much to the community for stepping up, and thank you, Mayor, and everyone in our community, Kim, Emily, for all that you've done. We look forward to a really great conference. Mayor?
Thank you, John and Kim, and thanks also to Emily, who's here with us. I also want to recognize Gloria Knox from the Perry Square Alliance. Gloria, thank you for being here. Jim Martin here as well. So also, as long as I'm recognizing people at Liz Allen City Council, thanks very much for being here. And Teresa Stankiewicz, our controller, thank you for being here as well. Next, I want to talk a little bit about what Renee referred to earlier, which was the conference I went to Monday through Wednesday of last week. It's the Mayor's Conference run by the Kauffman Foundation. The Kauffman Foundation actually paid all my expenses for going to this, including the flights, my lodging, my meals during the conference. And there were 100 cities represented at this conference, including 61 mayors who were in attendance. There were 3 goals of the conference. The first was that each mayor choose an initiative and get a clear understanding of how to proceed on that initiative. This would be an initiative to help entrepreneurs, which ties right in with what we were just talking about. Second is that each member understand what success looks like in their initiative. And third, that we learn how to best communicate the initiative to the public. As a first step, we were all encouraged to meet regularly with entrepreneurs in our cities and identify regulations that may be in place currently that are getting in their way. The National League of Cities actually actively participated in this conference as well. At the very beginning, they told us that if, as a mayor, I was willing to make a recorded commitment to a project or an initiative to help entrepreneurs, that the National League of Cities would be there to help us monthly to monitor our progress and help us achieve the commitment over the course of the next year. Overlapping this mayor's conference, the Kauffman Foundation was also sponsoring another conference for entrepreneurs called the eShip Summit. Beth Zimmer from Erie attended that conference. As you probably know, Beth runs the Innovation Collaborative here in Erie, and her life commitment for the last 7 years has really been helping entrepreneurs flourish here in Erie. Beth and I met several times over the 3 days. She also introduced me to several entrepreneurs who were attending the conference, very interesting people. I also got to spend a lot of time with Craig Bowerstadt. He's from the U.S. Department of Commerce's Economic Development Administration. It's a long title, I'll just say EDA from short from now on. The EDA does millions of dollars in grants annually to help new businesses get started. Craig stressed to me that the projects in every one of our 8 opportunity zones could qualify for grants, possibly around $300,000. These grants would be mostly for technical infrastructure in the opportunity zones. I've already passed Craig's contact information along to Carl Sanchek from the Erie Innovation District, since funding has been what's hampering our implementation of our Secure Smart City project. So I did make a commitment at the conference, and I want to share with you what I said. And I also have copies of the commitment if anyone wants a copy of it, so you can hold me accountable. So I committed on May 22nd, 2019 at the Mayor's Conference on Entrepreneurship to take the following action steps to build opportunity, restore hope, and transform Erie. First, a little historical background. Since the late 1960s, Erie has been losing jobs and people. Our population decreased from about 140,000 to about 100,000, while blight and crime increased. This decline is already turning around in at least 2 ways. First, we're learning to value Erie's incredible diversity. Initiatives like the People's Supper are teaching us to cherish every member of our diverse community. Second, in my experience, people are working together here in Erie like I've never seen before. So here's my commitment. We will attract entrepreneurs to create the jobs of the future in Erie by creating a secure smart city, which will include, at least to start with, LED lighting, high-speed internet, and cameras in our 8 opportunity zones no later than June 30th, 2020. As mayor, I'm proud to champion diversity, inclusion, and entrepreneurship for Erie's future. So I do have, as I mentioned, copies. I'll put them over here of that commitment statement if anybody would like to take a copy with them. Finally, I want to talk a little bit today to remind everyone that tonight will be the first of 2 public hearings on our proposed new LRTA ordinance. LRTA stands for Local Economic Revitalization Tax Assistance. Tonight's hearing will be in City Hall Council Chambers from 5:30 to 7:30. The second public hearing will take place on Wednesday, June the 12th, from 9 to 11 in the morning at Blasco Memorial Library. Anyone who has thoughts on our proposed LRTA ordinance is welcome to come and express their opinion, and we will listen. Implementing a new LRTA ordinance has been my top priority since I was elected mayor. I believe there is nothing that we can do that will help us build opportunity, restore hope, and transform Erie more than this proposed LRTA ordinance. It will jumpstart construction, make neighborhoods welcoming and vibrant, expand our tax base, and create more good family-sustaining jobs. From 2007 to 2012, we had a 100% LRTA. Our city's tax base grew on average 2.5 times what it's growing currently with the current more complex LRTA. Today, the city is collecting taxes we would not have had if we hadn't had that 100% LRTA. Our individual property taxes today would almost certainly be higher without the growth in the tax base that we had from 2007 to 2012. LRTA is not a tax reduction or a tax cut. It's a 10-year deferral of the tax increase from new construction. The pre-construction amount of taxes being paid on property will continue to be paid with no reduction at all. So passing this LRTA will really incentivize investment in Erie. For instance, as a homeowner, let's say you got a building permit and add a room to your home that increased its value by $15,000. Under the proposed LRTA, you would not pay any additional real estate tax for 10 years on the newly created assessed value. So the new LRTA does not reduce current taxes. What it does is encourage more development. And by doing that, it creates future significant tax dollars for the city. In fact, historically, the city's tax base has grown 2.5 times the current rate when we had a more aggressive LRTA. Second, it will reduce blight by making our neighborhoods more welcoming and vibrant. And finally, it will create more family-sustaining jobs during construction and in new and expanded businesses. That concludes today's press conference. Everyone who spoke will be available for interviews. We also have copies of an explanation of the LRTA, more detailed than what I gave here, as well as you can see in different maps here. This was when we had the 100% citywide LRTA, all the new construction that went on. Before and after that, it's pretty clearly see there was a lot less. You're welcome to take copies of these maps, the description of LRTA, and my commitment. Thanks very much for being here.